Aaron, after Christian dropped those couple, what gave you the confidence to go back to him in those really big spots early in the game?
Well, we had a lot of plays designed for him, so I don't think there was any other option. I think that catch probably on the atomic level shifted a lot of different things for him, exercising some energetic demons. Proud of him. Yeah, he made some plays. I mean, his best catch of the night was that low throw on the backed up drive, probably on 3rd and 2. But he has a good skill set. Obviously, he's really, really fast. Got to get him to catch the ball a little more consistently, but not much negative you can say after his performance tonight.
Have you seen anything over the past few weeks or a couple months or since he got here to indicate that this type of breakout was in the cards for him?
Nothing specific, Ryan, where I said, oh, here we go. It was just, there was, I think, a optimism around this being a possibility. Now, he hasn't been healthy, for a while. And I've mentioned, we had a lot of things in previous plans for him in Buffalo and last week. But, we need him to stay healthy because when he is, he's a different type of guy. We saw on the first couple of play actions, 28 was playing low at safety, and we called a couple runs and didn't do a whole lot. And Matt said on the sidelines, we're going to come back with some play action, maybe the next 3rd and short we get. And I came off the fake and was thinking 9 all the way, and I noticed the inside released, which was an ad lib by him. But it was a good decision, restacked, and made a great over-the-shoulder catch, and away we go.
What were you so upset about at the last drive of regulation there coming off?
Just every single play call, probably.
Is there a reason those play calls were upsetting to you?
Yeah, I felt like we were like 30 yards from end of the game in regulation, and also felt like it was 2 minutes, so I was going to be calling those, and I was in a pretty good rhythm. Obviously didn't have a ton of attempts tonight, but I felt like I was in a pretty good rhythm. I felt like I threw the ball just about exactly where I wanted to tonight, and so I wanted a chance to go win the game.
What's this do for you guys, do for the locker room, do for you looking forward here?
Last week was definitely a low. Rock bottom-ish, for sure. Not in the depressive isolationism way, but more disappointment. And I felt like that was the bottom, and it was only up from there. I think a lot of the battles that we face are between I and I, between the person that can go out there and dominate and knows that they can, and the little voice in your head that tries to knock you off of that confident perch you're on. So I'm happy that I knocked that voice back into hell and had a good performance today.
Any extra motion? Or any extra motion because it's Mike on the other sideline getting to beat him and getting a chance to play against him?
I don't think Mike suited up tonight. Got to check the stats here, Tom. He didn't, yeah. But I tell you, we got to have a extended conversation early on today. We messaged each other and coordinated a time to get together well before kickoff, and that was really, really meaningful, I think, for both of us. And so we had a laugh about it on the field because people might have thought that was the first time we saw each other and hugged each other pregame, but we had a really beautiful conversation before the game, and just really thankful for that time.
Who initiated that?
It was mutual.
Aaron, I think
There's another McCarthy question over here. So the fact that you guys snapped the losing streak and it comes against him, what does that say for karma, irony, whatever that vibe might be?
Well, there was a lot of demons that were exercised today. I think Tom showed me a stat about Dallas being ahead by 14 after 3 quarters and their record.
195 and all.
Yeah, we were obviously on a really rough stretch, 5 in a row. We hadn't scored 30 points in a long time, seems like. So a lot of, Christian hadn't had a receiving touchdown. There were a lot of things that we turned around today. Just coincidence that Dallas was in town. Although myself and the other Aaron on the team have had pretty good performances over the years against Dallas.
And you said a couple weeks ago already that just one win might be all it takes to kind of get things rolling.
Yeah.
Because it could be that simple.
I think so. Yeah, I do. We have the advantage this week with the short week at home. Short weeks are always difficult on teams. Not sure what our status will be injury-wise. Felt like for the most part we got out of this pretty clean. But Tennessee's a good football team. Well coached, run similar offense. Obviously, got one of the top backs in the league. Very stout defense. But I saw their weather report. It's supposed to be in the 20s, and I always like our chances when it's in the 20s.
Going back to Christian, it's a long list to choose from with 3 touchdowns, but the first 2 were deep shots, which obviously offensively you guys been searching for that. The third one wasn't as flashy, but it's in a big moment to tie a game late. Was one of those stand out more to you as being more meaningful for young receivers trying to build something?
Well, Ryan, it's got to be the first one because, you guys sometimes watch early practice. We always do pat and go where we're working on over-the-shoulder catches. And when he first got here, that was something that he wasn't very natural at. And I feel like he's had a nice progression of figuring out how to track that ball in the air and over his eyes and bring it in. But until you do it in a game, it's a completely different thing. So I came up and one-hitched it and put it in a spot I thought was pretty good. Obviously, he's extremely fast. But for him to catch that and then keep his feet and go in the end zone and then backflip, that was awesome. The second one was just, actually I adjusted him and Allen on the play because I wanted him on that deep over and Allen on a deep end. Both guys were open, but we protected up well, and that was just his speed. And the third one was just an excellent schematic. And it helped that we ran the ball really efficiently on that drive. We were just kind of baiting him to come up even more. And he's on the backside running just a direct line over the other side, and he's going to win most of those foot races. But the first one for sure was the most meaningful.
You talk about running the ball really efficiently. On that third down and short and overtime to Lazard, did it feel in the field like the Cowboys defense bit on that action fake as much as it looked like from up top? And how much do you think the run set up the pass tonight?
Completely. We had super high percentage, I'm sure, of action passes today. That was a lot of our stuff. We were under center a lot more, felt like. The way the line played up front set up a lot of things. For the most part, protection was really solid with a good front. But running the football, we ran it really, really effectively, and that set up all those things. Now, we've kind of been setting that play up for a while throughout the game, and it hadn't been there. And then Alan and I kind of had a conversation on the sideline and felt like if we came back to that play, they had a chance to be there, and he's, pretty proficient at that route.
Along those lines, do you think, did this game show you anything, or did you guys learn anything about what your identity is or should be?
Well, I think we can run the football pretty well, and you got to in the wintertime with the question marks and protection at times, and the health of our receivers. I feel like this is definitely a formula that can work for us. We still have to throw it downfield, but until people are going to give us a heavy dose of one high, we're going to have to run the football and then use the play action to take some shots down the field.
So beyond the X's and O's identity part of it, it's 14-14 at the half. Christian seems to slow down on that deep ball or something happens there, right? So you have to punt.
He didn't see it.
Is that
He was
what-
looking, I guess, for a lower ball. So he looked back kind of here, and the ball was obviously up there.
So you miss out on that opportunity, you punt. Defense gets a 3 and out. Amari fumbles the punt. They go in and turn that into a touchdown. You guys go 3 and out, and they go score again. The way things have been going this season, how do things not go to hell after that? I mean, did you find out something about your team in that moment, or?
I think so. I do. And that's why I told him in the locker room, that was a turning point for us. Hopefully a turning point that leads us to go on a streak. But that was a chance for guys to, that's not our season. 3-7. What are we doing in the off season? It's not going to be our year. Sometimes you can't explain the feelings that you have and the energetic waves that maybe come and go during the week, but I just had a feeling all week we're going to win this game. And I wish it was like that every single week. And there was a time when we won 19 in a row where I think it was. But for whatever reason, I just felt something a little different this week. Part of it was probably the rock bottom feeling and a reset personally, and and I felt like a reset for our squad, for some of the individuals, but I just felt like energetically something was gonna go our way, and we stuck together in the fourth. You know, it didn't look great. You know, your mind starts wandering a little bit about the same things I just mentioned for sure. But I love going for it on 4th down. He called a specific play that came to me on a Monday and said, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Yeah." We blocked it up, and I threw a touchdown, and that kind of kept us in it. Now, for whatever reason, there were a lot of Cowboys fans there tonight, and I don't feel like it was the most energetic crowd that we've had. There were definitely some huge momentum swings. The touchdown to Christian, I felt like got the crowd back in it, the first one. And then same with 28-14, when we hit that one on 4th down, I felt like, oh, now maybe they believe a little bit as well. And we're creatures of, of habit, and fans are as well. But when they bring that energy, we feel it. And I think we appreciated those little jolts, and we'll appreciate maybe a little bit more consistent jolts moving forward.
Aaron, maybe I'm projecting here, but I can't imagine it. Maybe. For Christian, at least, not on you. I can't imagine it's easy for a 22, 23-year-old kid to be a second-round pick and come in with what you guys lost at receiver and maybe the expectations that were placed on him. Are there any conversations that you two have had, even dating back to the summer, that stood out that maybe let you know he was built different? I don't know if that's a cliche, but anything that stands out and impressed you about how he's handled these past couple months and everything he's been through?
I don't know if I can point to one specific thing. I will say he's always been a guy who asks really good questions, and you can tell he cares about it. I think there's times where all of us can relate to being really hard on ourselves, and I think him and Rome both can go through stretches where they get really down on themselves. And I think as a leader, I've alerted Jonesy and Big Dog over the season to make sure we keep an eye on those guys, because there's so much talent and opportunity there. But sometimes when they're a little hard on themselves, it might detract from the possibilities of a night like tonight. I will say this, he's been doing a lot of work on his visualization and the mental side, and I think it shows up. After those 2 drops, I felt like he reset on the sidelines. I kind of came over to him and said, "Hey, the ball's still coming your way, buddy. Let's get one of these, let's make a play." And like I said, that first one I feel like was like the monkey, the 800-pound gorilla off his back, the weight of expectations and frustrations and drops and disappointment. And hopefully that's a big jolt for him moving forward.
2 more for overtime. Cowboys first possession, 4th and 3. They pass up the field goal, go for it. You're in the sideline there. Were you surprised? Were you expecting them to go for it?
I mean, I'd want to go for it there. The field goal, It was not the end of the game. They had a good drive. They hit some plays. So, no, I would have wanted to go for that there. I wasn't sure if his knee hit. I felt like we might even get a few more yards on that one, but before he threw it. But our defense came up with some big stops. Rudy had 2 really big picks, one after my fumble. And Tom told me a real disappointing trend that we turned around tonight about scoring points off turnovers, and I think we scored touchdowns on both of those. So that was big for us, for Rudy. Great kid. Came in just to play special teams, we thought, and we were wrong.
Not to harp on the end of the regulation, but Rob and I were arguing about this in the press box. He was on
I don't argue.
He was on
That's
team LaFleur.
He's projecting on me.
I am. How do you? What did you want to do, and how do you figure out with the timing? That was what we were debating. Is like, because if you do get stopped, you're giving them the ball back. So, just what would you have liked to have done, and how do you figure that out? And then, what did you maybe talk about with Matt after you got after him the way you did?
Well, I think he felt bad. I'm not exactly sure what the mindset was. I get run the ball on first down, but not second and not third. They're not the third down call. So I want to be aggressive, and let's go get them. They're playing a lot of one-high man. Let's call some man beaters, and let's complete a couple passes, and we're going to go win the game. Put it away. We have 2 timeouts. Yeah, I get it. They have 3 timeouts. We ran the ball on first down, then call timeout. Okay. Let's waste 40. Let's get it down to around a minute, and let's go. Let's go win the game.